Japanese is a subtle language that prioritizes selflessness and consideration for others. There are many great things that come with this, such as cleaner public spaces and mutual respect that's natural. Along with these, though, come some lesser-known costs that can be difficult to understand for people who haven't grown up in the Japanese culture. This is Japan's politeness, a comfort and a burden. Japan was once ruled by a strict government of sorts that did not hesitate to give out punishments. In order to deter people from rebelling against them, they publicly punished criminals and rewarded those who snitched with a reduced sentence, or even were completely excused. This would likely have made people paranoid of their actions and thoughts, hiding them to survive. People wouldn't want to stand out from the group in case they were singled out. The hierarchical system would have also enforced the necessity of respecting those in important positions. This has perhaps been carried on through these years, even into the modern Japanese culture. This is not to say English-speaking countries don't think about others. Japan just has a culture that is more based on respect and, more importantly, collectivism. This has its benefits, like a much cleaner public space, because people are mindful of other people who would use the area. The customer service is also amazing. We even have a word for it, omotenashi. Whenever you go to a restaurant, you feel like you're an important person because you're treated nicely. Is this a reflection of the language? Well, culture and language definitely support each other and explain why you don't see this as prominently in English-speaking countries. Something that makes it easier to identify the idea of politeness in the Japanese language is the bunch of different politeness levels embedded within the Japanese language, meaning there's 5 times as more things to remember. In Australia, people easily say "what's up" to their boss and don't have that original barrier when meeting new people. People regularly strike up a conversation with a stranger in the queue for a morning coffee or on a riverside bench. It's completely normal. I know people who've had culture shock when moving to Australia or vice versa. It's tough to get used to, especially when you've grown up in a culture that's all about staying in your personal bubble and trying to stay out of the way of other people. Japanese people might even be too polite. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no harm in being super polite, but if it gets to the point where you're prioritizing everyone else over your well-being, well, it kind of gets to you. Mental health is a huge issue in Japan. If everyone at work is excited about drinking tonight, you're basically forced to go with them. No excuses about wanting to spend time with your family or your dog eating your latest business report. Why must I voice my opinion if everyone else is happy with the current outcome? Your true feelings are bottled up and, well, you aren't yourself anymore. These feelings and thoughts are called honne, while the things you actually say are tatemae. This is really the underlying principle of the Japanese culture. We even have words for these concepts, which says a whole lot. Japanese kanji is very helpful here. If you know the meanings of each kanji, the words make absolute sense.
Nice.
Real sound, as in the real intention you would have expressed, and build front, as in the fake wall you've built around you to fit in. Yes, other countries have some degree of honne and tatemae with white lies and whatnot, but Japan's culture is built upon conforming with the group by being indirect and vague. There's also the issue of ambiguity.
Hello there.
I could propose that we could go watch the new movie about space, but since you don't like the sci-fi movies, you could respond with 今日はちょっと. It's kind of like an unfinished sentence, and there's no real reason, but the other person just gets that you don't want to go. Another one is 時間があったら行きます, or similarly, 行けたら行きます. So if you can go, you will go. But many times you just don't go. But you say that to be more vague. And the last one could be 難しいですね. It's difficult, and why? Well, because you probably have plans on or you just don't want to go. But you don't have to say that, you just say it. It's difficult. Your friend is serving you burnt food, so you could just say, onaka ga ippai. You already ate and you're not hungry. Or you could try it and say, 大人の味ですね. As in it's a flavor that an adult would like, which suggests it's a uncommon taste. And on the flip side, if you're at a cafe and you want to try some of my matcha pudding, you probably would say, 美味しそう, even though it means, it looks delicious. The underlying meaning would be, I want some of that and, can I have a mouthful? If you've thought about or have already started learning Japanese, you might also want my JLPT N5 textbook, Japanese Made Fun. I've designed it to be different to other generic textbooks with an overarching storyline and various practice exercises to ensure retention in an enjoyable way. Learn Japanese the fun way using the QR code or the link in the description. So Japanese formality has its complications. The question arises then, is polite Japanese unnatural? Well, yes and no. It really depends on the situation. If you're talking with people who always use casual Japanese and you've been meeting up many times, using formal Japanese would obviously be weird. It can feel clunky and rigid as well. But sometimes that's a good thing, isn't it? Because structured sentences with set rules can build a strong understanding of the foundation. Formal Japanese is definitely used when meeting people for the first time, which you have to do in order to build a relationship to have the privilege of using casual Japanese. If you work in a business setting or a part-time hospitality job, then that would most likely require the use of formal Japanese. And since these jobs require the interaction between customers, the language needs to reflect the gratitude you have for the customers, since they're spending money to support you and the company. That's why the hospitality workers are implicitly more polite than the customer. It would also be a necessity when talking to someone with a higher status, and most of the time they're older than you. You've got the terms senpai and kohai, meaning senior and junior. Age is a big thing in Japan. If you're 1 year younger, then you've got to be respectful to your senior. Same age? Well, then you can be friends. This does not exist in Australia at all. You can be friends and talk exactly the same way to those younger than you and those older than you. All of this being said, as Japan continues to become more modernized and the influence of Western culture becomes stronger, the overall rules of politeness aren't that strict among the younger generation. Even the compulsory use of a tie when working in a business has slowly become non-existent over the recent years. Politeness is a benefit to society, but can also cause immense stress. Like everything, it really comes down to a balance. Be polite, but take care of yourself too. It's tough to understand, but it's something that is great to know and respect, and can be implemented easily into your life. You can learn more about Japan's culture and language here.